let's get started, y'all. So the topic is home. So when I spoke to Vishali about what I was going to talk about, I started thinking of things that remind me, that center me, that ground me, and that give me home, give me shelter, give me comfort, because that's what home is, right? It's not really necessarily a place. It's a thing, an idea that grounds you and that makes you feel safe. And this song came to mind. This is a song that my mother used to sing to me when I was a baby. And to this day, I can hear this song, and I'm 5 years old laying on my mom's lap, and it brings it all back. So I want to share this with y'all. This is called You Are My Sunshine, and this ties into my story also. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, while you were sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I held my head and cried, 'cause you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. That song is, like I said, it's really special to me because it was my mother's song. It was the song that she sang with me. And I have a little pillow actually that sits in my office that was in my crib that played that. And earliest memory and longest memory, most enduring memory. And my mother passed away when I was 7. But I grew up in a house that music was constant, and it was varied. We listened to country, we listened to gospel, we listened to R&B, we listened to rap, we listened to pop, we listened to everything. And so I never felt afraid or strange listening to things in the car that I didn't hear my friends listening to, because that was what we did. And because of that, music has always been like, I don't know, I guess like even like a magical cape or something. Like it's something that I put on that makes me feel safe, makes me feel happy, makes me feel purposeful, all of that. And country music especially was that for me because of the songs, the storytelling, and the fact that my mother's favorite song was Leaving on Your Mind by Patsy Cline. And then You Are My Sunshine, I later found out when I got older, was a country song as well. And so I decided as a teenager that this is what I was going to do. And mind you, it wasn't like there was an abundance of Black women or people that look like me in country music. And so for the longest time, I didn't think it was possible and didn't want to do it. And I met my first managers, who were 2 Black women from St. Louis. I grew up in St. Louis. And they were experienced in hip hop. And so when they met me when I was 17, I wanted to be Mariah Carey. I wanted to be Beyonce. I wanted to be Lauryn Hill. And I was secretly in my room writing these country songs. And so when we started working on my first demo, they asked me, well, Rissi, what is it that you want to do? Like, what kind of music do you write? You're always writing in that notebook. And I showed them some of my songs and they said, well, Rissi, these are country songs. And I said, I know, and I love country music. And actually, I wrote that for Reba McEntire. And they were just like, well, why don't you sing it? And I was like, well, I guess, I don't know. And so they were like, no, Rissi, this is what you do. This is what sound comes out of your mouth when you sing. You're a country singer. And so we went to Nashville. 3 Black women from St. Louis, we went to Nashville. And we started taking meetings and started sitting down with people. I signed my first publishing deal when I was 19 years old and started writing with some of my favorite writers and started taking meetings with labels and having labels, you know, being young and sitting down in this really unfamiliar town and having these meetings with these people that you know are extremely powerful and can change your life. And they're telling you, well, I don't know how to find songs for someone like you. Or I don't know if we're going to be able to figure out a way to make you relatable to our audience. And so within my first year of Nashville, I had meetings with all major labels, all 5 of the major labels that were there at the time. Was offered 1 demo deal and everyone else passed because they didn't know what to do with me. And so I spent the next 7 years in Nashville writing songs and trying to figure out where my place was and where I fit in. It was an independent label that ended up signing me. And my first song was a song about my differences because I wanted to just go ahead and get it out of the way. And so it was a song called Country Girl. And the whole premise of the song was you don't have to be in this box to be a country girl because being country is a state of mind. Loving country music is your prerogative, whether you live in New York or you live in Mississippi. And it got me on the charts. I became the first woman in 2007, the first Black woman in 2007, after 20 years to end up on the country charts. It was a really beautiful time. It was a wonderful time. I got to play the Opry. I got to go on tour. I got to play all over the I think I've been to every city in the United States on radio tour, I swear. It was also a really lonely time because, again, it was just me. This was before Darius Rucker even came over to country music. It was just myself. And you get asked a lot of questions. You get asked, well, how did you end up here? And how did you like country music? And I call them authenticity tests. I often had to take a lot of authenticity tests. So, girl, who was the first country artist that you liked? Or can you tell me a song that was written by such and such? Just to see if I knew or if I was some sort of interloper or something like that in country music, because everyone knows that the easiest way for a Black woman to make it in the music business is to go to country and then cross over to pop. I remember once I was at a radio station and they actually on air started playing 2 seconds of these very, very old country songs and were basically giving me a pop quiz on the air live. And they didn't realize I was a music head, so I knew all the answers. But still, it was hard. And I felt out of place a lot. And you get people say things to you. I don't think they're necessarily being malignant, but now we call them aggressions. But in 2007, there was no name for that. So you get asked about your hair. Can I touch your hair? Or you're not black because you like this, and you're not necessarily like that kind of stuff. It's isolating. And I questioned a lot whether or not I belonged, whether I'm supposed to be here, whether or not this was even something that I belonged to. And in 2009, I ended up leaving my record label. And it was an extremely painful, hurtful process. And met my husband at the same time, or re-met my husband, I should say. That's a story for another day. But ended up here in the Triangle. I have never felt more comfortable, more confident, and more loved than I have in this community. And I really believe that the reason is because we all come from, a lot of us come from different places, especially the creative community. And we've all ended up here for whatever reason, marriage, jobs, whatever, family. And we've created a music community here that helps, that is concerned with charity, with social justice, with equity, equality, and diversity. And because of that, I feel like I really found my voice here. I found my voice as an independent artist. I found my voice as someone, I don't know that I would necessarily call myself an activist, but I guess as an activist and as someone who just gives a damn about those coming up behind me. And so, had I not come here, had I not become an independent artist, and had I not been in the triangle, I don't know that I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. So, what am I doing right now? I have a radio show called Color Me Country. And it was named that because of Linda Martell, who is the patron saint of our show. And actually, y'all played one of her songs earlier, which was really awesome. She was the first Black woman to ever play the Grand Ole Opry. She is the, to this day, in 1968, she became the highest charting woman of color in the history of the Billboard music charts. And she still is to this day. And she happened in 1968, 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago. So that ain't good. She's the patron saint. That was the name of her first album. And I felt like it was important. And last year when I launched the show, before I knew that George Floyd was going to happen or Ahmaud Arbery or any of the things that happened last year, I knew that country music was telling a very incomplete story when it came to people of color and our contribution specifically to the music. And I knew this through doing research and hearing anecdotes and looking up things on my own. And because I am one of those people and I was one of those artists in country music and a part of it, that I would be the one to dispel the lie, because if journalists weren't going to do it, and if country music itself wasn't going to do it, then someone had to. And so I just started out wanting to talk to my friends and just having them tell the story. And I didn't realize that through doing that, through telling other people's story, through telling the story of Linda Martell, through telling the story of Sarge and Shirley West, who, to as far as I know, are the first African-American husband and wife country music duo in country music ever. And they happened also in 1968. And they were forgotten, largely forgotten. I found them in a Billboard magazine just doing research. Old, like an old ad, like they called themselves Mr. and Mrs. Negro country and Western music. And in telling the stories of Petrella, and telling the stories of Ruby Falls, telling the stories of La Princia. And so I could just go on and on and on. Obie McClinton. And we have a very large stake. D. Ford Bailey, Leslie Riddle, the banjo being based on an African instrument. A lot of the early string bands were slaves that were taught to play the violin and then created their own sound and style when they played for dances that has translated over into what we now call old time music, roots music, bluegrass, all of that. And so we all have a stake, all people, whether you are Black, brown, white, whatever, we all have a stake in this. And in doing all this research and in telling these stories, I realized that I did belong. I've always belonged. And whether or not the industry wanted to acknowledge that, or anybody wanted to give me accolades or kudos or welcome, I deserve to be there just as much as anybody else. And all the artists coming up after me deserve to be there just as much as I did. And so doing this has empowered me in a way that I had absolutely no idea. And going down this road has changed my life. And from there, from doing the show, my partner in music, I call her my work wife, Kelly McCartney and I have established the Color Me Country Artist Fund, where we give micro grants to BIPOC artists who are pursuing careers in roots and country music. And so far, we have been able to give out 50 grants since January. And thanks to Brandy Carlisle, who is amazing, we were just endowed with like $40,000. CMT gave us grants. So many amazing people. And just the biggest thing was that we were able to raise $20,000 just from social media, just from people just wanting to contribute and wanting to be a part of it. And so I think for me, getting back to the theme of this whole thing, home. And I said before I started my song that home is not necessarily a structure. It's not four walls and a roof. Home is sometimes the tables that you build in order to accommodate yourself and others. Sometimes it is the thought processes that you take on that allow others to overcome or allow others to avoid or get around because of your experience. And in that, I don't necessarily feel like Nashville is my home anymore. I don't necessarily feel like the industry is my home anymore, but the community and the table that I have been able to build and set over the last year, thanks to Apple Music and Kelly and so many amazing people, that's home for me. This is home for me. Country music, the music is home. Yes, when I think of home, I think of the song from Wiz. Exactly, like it is. I think of a place where there's love overflowing. Yes, the Wiz. It's one of my favorite movies. And so I implore each and every one of you. Everybody always asks, like, what advice would you give? What is your thought process after the year that you've had? I think do the things that scare you. I was terrified. I was just like, I think me and my mom are going to probably be the only people that listen to this show, but that's all right. I'm going to do it. And I'm so grateful that I did, because all of the things that have come along, and like accolades are great. Like I was just named the Future 25 from Rolling Stone. And I was a part of the Billboard Country Music Game Changers, and been in the New York Times this year, and all these different newspapers, and CBS Morning Show this year, and the Grand Ole Opry again this year. But those things are awesome and they're great. But the thing that I'm most proud of is the fund and all the artists that I've been able to give platform to. Most of the artists on my show are new. 95% of them are not signed. They don't have publishing deals. They don't have record deals. They don't have anything. They're just doing this on their own and putting music out there and hoping that somebody hears it. And the numbers are not good for BIPOC people in country music. They're not good for LGBTQ. They're not great for women. Like white women don't even really get the same attention in country music as their male counterparts. So it is a problem, and it is something that needs to be addressed. And the biggest thing I think is culture, which again drives back to creating your own spaces, creating your own tables, finding ways against the system to circumvent the system. And that's what I've been trying to do, and what I firmly believe is going to change things and is going to make the difference. It's made the difference in my life. It's made the difference in so many of the artists that I admire. And yeah, I think back to my mom singing that song to me, and I don't think she even knew what she was imprinting on my spirit, on my soul, on my purpose. And I thank God for the brief time that I had her, because I really do believe that she set the tone for the way that the rest of my life has gone. And so, yeah, for everybody that's an outsider, everybody that is on the margins, on the fringes, you don't quite fit this box or this box. You're a little awkward. you're a little, you're a little strange, you're a little weird, whatever. Like, fly your flags, honey, because there is a place for you. There is a home for you. There is a table for you. It might not be the cool people's table. It might not be, it's like high school. It may not be the jock table. It may not be the theater kids. There is a table for you. And if there's not a table for you, then build that table. Create your table. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be scared to do that, because there is somebody that is going to come and sit down next to you and create family, create home, create a place. And that's my story. After talking to Vishali the other day, I was so excited that I could include music in my presentation. So I did what I do best. I created a playlist, and this is called Sounds Like Home playlist. It's on Apple Music, of course, because they're my bosses. And so, but this is free. And you don't have to have an Apple Music subscription to listen to this. And the picture on the playlist that is the heading was me when I was 4 years old, singing. I think I was singing "We Are the World" into my Michael Jackson. I think it's a Michael Jackson record player. Like, I don't think there's a more 80s picture that you will ever find in your life than a child sitting on burnt orange furniture in a Cabbage Patch dress, singing into a Michael Jackson record player. And so that's the song. But these are all songs that remind me of my family, remind me of my mother, remind me of where I come from, and like songs that were playing in our house or songs that are playing in my house right now. So I hope y'all enjoy it. Playlisting is like one of my favorite things. And doing my radio show has made me, I get to do one like every other week. So I'm now old pro at it. So you can check that out. And you can also check out the show. The show Color Me Country comes on every other Sunday. Like, we're on this Sunday at 7:00 Eastern. It's free if you listen live. You don't have to have an Apple Music subscription. Just click the link and check it out. We have Johnny Swim on the show this week. So
wow, thank you so much, Rissi. This is such an amazing, like, I'm super excited because you are a playlist queen. So thank you for putting together a playlist for us. But just hearing your story, it's so incredible. I would love for the audience to drop in some questions, and I want to kick us off. I think I've been so curious. You're such a natural host. The format of Color Me Country is just so, it is a table that I think I had no expectations when I started listening. But I was instantly felt welcomed in and invited into that space. And it's such a unique format. It just was curious, like, how you landed on the format that you have, and what you were thinking of as a host to set that table.
So I wish that I could say it was all me. I figured it out and it was awesome and it was great. No. Okay. So it was a process. I am a huge NPR person, like, love NPR. And one of my favorite shows is Fresh Air. I think Terry Gross is like the consummate conversationalist.
Yeah.
In addition to like Oprah. So like the first episode that we did in the house was me doing my best Oprah Terry Gross impression. And it was all right. It wasn't great. But thanks to my producers, who I'm going to shout out. I know they're not watching because they're not up this early. But but Amara Hall, Nathan Tempero, and Brian Hilton, we sat down, we worked on that first episode for like a month and a half to try to just get it right, because they wanted to make sure that it didn't sound like I was reading. They wanted to make sure that it was natural. And like, they were just like, we like how you interact with people. So we need to figure out how to make that translate into the radio show. And we figured it out. It was just have a conversation, just talk. What are you thinking off the top of your head? And so a lot of our sessions start with us having conversation like this. And then I'll just be recording, and they're just like, that's it. Keep talking about that. And so that's how we end up on the show. So if it sounds like I'm talking to y'all, I really am. Like I'm sitting there, we're just talking. I can't cuss. I was about to cuss, but we're just sitting there talking mess, and and
Yes.
it ends up on the air. So yeah, that's how ended up on the format.
Yeah. And the music that you select is just, it's such a treat to like that you weave in through.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you a secret. So it's part me and it's also part my guests. I always ask whenever people come on the show, give me 5 songs that have influenced you. It doesn't matter what format. They don't have to be country. They can be classical. It can be jazz. It can be whatever. And they always come back. Like the artists never fail me. They always come back with like awesome things. And so my only rule on the show is that we don't repeat songs, and that's my only rule, I guess. Yes, that's the only rule. Don't repeat songs. So we played David Bowie and Farron Young in the same episode. It's awesome. Like it's one of my favorite things. Like I love it.
I love hearing artists describe that kind of elevated energy you have when you're performing and the magic that comes out of that. So I was wondering what's one of your most memorable performing or backstage interacting with other collaborators memories?
That's a great question. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, the energy. It feels like electricity running up your back. And that's the only thing that I can think, because I get believe it or not, I'm kind of shy sometimes. And so before I know, I feel like that song, I'm shy, but sometimes I before I get on stage, I get scared. Like I don't know where it comes from, but I get nervous. I think it's because it means so much to me. And so I get really, really nervous. And then I stand there, and you may see me before I go on, like I do this. And I'm kind of jumping up and down. I'm like, we're about to do it. We're going, we're going. And that's when the electricity thing goes up your back, and then you just go. And like until I get off the stage, like it's on. And then when I get off, I'm exhausted and wet and tired and all that. And mascara's running, all that. So okay. Most memorable experience on stage. First time I played the Grand Ole Opry. It was it was something that I used to watch on TV when I was a kid, and they used to have it on TNN. For those that remember in the 80s, TNN, and then it was on CMT for a while. And I used to watch it, and I was just like, one day I'm gonna get to do that. I want to do that so bad. And I got the invitation, and I was getting my makeup done, and like Vince Gill walked in, and he was getting his makeup done, and I was like, "You're Vince Gill," and he was just like, "Good luck tonight," and all of that. And my family was there. My grandmother got to come. It's one of the last things my grandmother got to be a part of before she passed away. And um, there's actually a video of this on YouTube. I totally forgot that my old label put it up. So if you want to see in real time me sobbing like a baby, you can do it. It's totally there. But standing in the sacred circle, because I got to do it at the Ryman the first time I did it. And I don't know that there's anything like that. Like you're standing in the same place as your heroes. Like Patsy Cline stood in that circle. Linda Martell stood in that circle. It was unbelievable. I cried. They were so nice. And I got to see my grandma, and she was sobbing, and like my mom and dad were there. Even my little brother, who at the time could not give a damn about anything that I was doing. Like he was crying. Like it was pretty awesome. So yeah, that's probably to this day will be, and that was in 2008. And to this day, nothing has topped it. And I've done some really cool stuff, but like nothing will ever top that. Hey,
yes, that's such a, can you hear me? Hi, Rissi, good to see you again. So, I mean, all that you said has been so encouraging about creating your own table. And you know, you said how you were said no to so many times, and you had to take the authenticity test, quote unquote, authenticity test. In my life in the last couple of years, I've just been feeling like I cannot Like, I cannot survive being authentic in this country. And I've really began to doubt. And even though I'm all about authenticity, I'm beginning to doubt if that's serving me. Like, I'm no longer feeling like it's serving me in work and in life. I'm feeling like my authenticity is having a hard time being embraced. And especially in my profession, in diversity, inclusion, and equity, it was so much easier when I didn't know as much as I know. It was easier to get a job. It was easier to do anything. And now that my mind is expanded, I feel like I am getting shut out. And when I ask for feedback from other people, they all tell me, girl, as a Black woman, you cannot be transparent. You cannot be authentic in this work. You have to pretend you don't know what you know. And that is devastating to me. I switched from engineering to this thing because I'm passionate about it and I want to make a difference. And now I'm hearing this is the place where I don't get to be authentic. It is painful.
Yeah.
It is so painful. And yeah, so this has been very encouraging to me. You know, to hear that I can make my own table and not just have to bend and twist myself to become acceptable.
Oh, Seche.
So thank you.
No, God, okay. So that's what we're doing. We're making me cry. Okay. So Seche, first of all, first of all, you belong.
Yeah.
Exactly as you are. And please, can I cuss? Am I allowed to cuss?
Yes, you're totally allowed to cuss.
Fuck them. Like you belong. And I'm gonna tell you, like for so many years when I left Nashville, I felt like I had been kicked out. I had been rejected because I left because of a lawsuit. And everybody, when everything was good, oh, Rissi, no, we got you. As soon as you get out of this deal, we got you. We're going to sign you. We're going to work with you. And as soon as I got out of the deal, phone stopped ringing. Nobody called. And for several years, nobody called. Like, I haven't changed the way I sing. I haven't changed the way I look. I haven't changed the things that I talk about or anything in the last 13 years. So the only thing that has changed is that people are like, oh, you're still here. Oh, the climate has changed. And so, like, let's ask her questions. Let's talk to her about things. So all I've done is be Rissi. So all you have to do, Seche, keep being Seche. Keep doing what you're doing. It is important. It matters. It matters. And your purpose, which it sounds like this is your purpose because you're so passionate about it. Your purpose is going to make a place for you. Whether it's hard to believe that now, it is hard. And trust me, there are days I still have to tell myself this, but your purpose will make a place for you. And it is a unique place for just you. It's not for anybody else. It's not for me. It's not for Vishal. It's not for any of these other people. It is for you. It is a Seche-sized place. So just believe that.
Thank you.
And keep
Thank
going.
you so
Oh,
much.
girl, I
That's
wish I could
very
hug you.
We all.
In the last year since George Floyd, I've been on 81 job interviews for 45 jobs. Yeah. And even though I'm really good at what I do, and I have side gigs here and there. I've been beginning to doubt myself, like, are all my clients lying to me? Are all the places where I've had impact, are they lying to me? Because why have I had 81 interviews in the last 12 months?
Maybe.
But thank you. I will keep doing me and I will keep approaching the work with truth. And
that's the only way to do it. Like, that's the only way to do it. And
so
like,
much.
it's easy to say that when you're not the person on the end of the rejections. Yeah. But like, I promise you, that, I mean, girl, I can only use myself as an example. Like with all the press and with all the great things, nobody has offered me a record deal. Nobody has called to say, Rissi, we want you to keep making music and we want to help you. Nobody's offered me a publishing deal. Nobody has offered to be a booking agent for me. Nobody has offered to be a manager for me. And this is like, I've been in the New York Times 6 times in the last 6 months. And so it doesn't always look like what you think it's going to look like. And rejection doesn't mean that you're the problem. It just means that that's not your place. But Setcha, I truly believe this. And I don't know if you are a religious person or if you believe in God or any of that stuff, but I do. And I'm going to say that I believe that God will make a place for you. And so the universe, whatever you call it, is going to make a place for you. Just keep being earnest and honest and truthful, and it's going to happen for you. I believe that. I've met
you so much, and thank you everyone else for the comments. Thank you, and thank you everyone for the comments in the chat. I really appreciate the encouragement.
Setcha, thank you for your vulnerability and being you. This is amazing. Definitely, like, I don't know, when if ever you want support from a community or there are things that we can do, like, don't hesitate to connect with anybody here in this community. This is a table.
Look at the comment. Like, y'all, don't make me cry this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Look at the comment section.
Yeah.
Look at
Thank you so much.
Like, this is table building. This is home. This is home.
Rissi, I heard you say a little bit about like your own journey, and I think that that's really an interesting thing that many people face. And I remember as you were talking about, like 95% of the artists, it just shocked me on your show are unsigned. And there's just so many people who are putting themselves out into the world. And it's just so difficult, I think, when you don't, it's hard to take rejection or even just like not getting attention back and not have that personally reflect on you. I think many people, I don't know how many of your radio or your guests on the show have struggled in this way, or I just was curious if the micro grants are allowing folks to get some supports that aren't in the community, or if you wanted to speak a little bit to that.
Sure. Yeah, it is hard not to take it personally. And it's damn near impossible not to take it personally. You have to be like floating. You have to be on like that kind of level mentally in order for just it all washes over me. Yeah. Because like it's just not, it's hard. It's humanly really hard to be like that. In doing the grants. So what inspired me was there was a particular artist that I spoke to that her name is Sasha Basagi, and she's Canadian Black woman, and she's incredible. And she's been at it for a long time. Like, baby girl looks like Pleasure Principal Janet Jackson. Like, she's the cutest thing ever. She can sing her face off. She writes great songs, and she's like this big, and she's and she's just incredible. And like her visuals are beautiful, her pictures, her videos, the songs are just very fresh. And I'm just like, I just knew the first time that I talked to her that she was signed, that she had like a whole team, like a glam. Yeah. And so when we were speaking off mic, I should say, she said to me that she had a job, like a day job, and that she was doing all this stuff on her own. I was like, you're just hiring these people? And she was like, yeah, I work the job so that I can do the music. Wow. And so when I talked to Kelly, my partner, I was just like, we should do something about this. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. And I know in my own life, if it weren't for teaching gigs, if it weren't for the just gigs, yeah. If it weren't for my husband reinvesting in my career, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do. and make things look the way that I do. So it's just like, it's a very high bar for an independent artist to keep up with not having a major label back you. And
Right.
so that's what the fund was. That's what the fund was supposed to do. It was, I mean, mind you, it's $500 to $1,000, but it's not, you know, it's not $10,000 or $5,000, but you can get a video done. You can finish recording your EP. You can buy that piece of equipment that'll help you to finish your recording. You can pay doctor's bills so you can focus on writing songs and not worrying about where that money's going to come from. And so that's really what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to give peace of mind more than anything. Like, because in, like Seche said, and like I've said, sometimes it's just like you just need a yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes just one yes, like one thing that, so I don't, there's no application process. Like if you hit me up or I find you and I'm like, I like what you're doing, give me your PayPal. Or if you just hit me and you're like, Rissi, I really want to finish, I want to take some pictures, give me your PayPal. Like, you don't have to jump through hoops for this. Like, we jump through hoops for everything else. This should be the easiest part of your day, is asking me for money.
That's amazing.
And I love to give it. So like, it's just,
yeah.
it's, yeah. So it's, and you just, I call them postcards from God. Sometimes you just need a postcard from God that you still matter and you're still on the radar.
100%. Well, there's one more question. I'm going to end us with a question from Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hey, Rissi. Gosh, thanks for so much hope and rebellion and love and F-bombs. Appreciate all that.
I'm good for it. What
yeah.
Anytime you need one, call me.
That's right. All over the place. It was good. And Seche, I just thank you. That's some amazing sharing. It really is. Gives the rest of us permission to share as well. So thank you for that. Rissi, I want to say thank you to you too for coming to this Creative Mornings session. We know you're busy, and I also get to say thanks for being a part of the Band Together call for change against racial injustice last year. It was just, you were wonderful. Thank you for supporting that. I was going to ask you, just getting back to the topic about home, ask you about why Raleigh? You know, why this place? Like, you know, there's so many places you could be. Why Raleigh? And what are your favorite places? What are your favorite things to do here?
All right. So we so I'm gonna give y'all a real answer because we being real, right? Marriage. A man brought me here.
Love. That's love.
My husband, Brian, is a North Carolina boy through and through. He was born and raised in Charlotte, and he went to NC State, go Wolfpack, and he's been in Raleigh ever since. And so when we got together, we were, you know, I was feeling really down about Nashville, and he was just like, well, you can do music anywhere. And so I came and never left. And we now live in Durham, and I love the Triangle. I really do. I tell people this all the time. Like, I really, really love, what is it? I think it's just that, like, it's not like a music town per se. Like, Nashville is a music town. Like, the waiters have demos. Like, it's it's kind of like LA with like everybody's got a resume or a talent reel or something. Like, Nashville is the same way. And there's this undercurrent of tension and of competition. Whereas here, it's a musical community. Like, people are just like, hey, I heard you sing. You want to collaborate on something? You want to, I want to get you on this record. And if you sing this, then we can give the proceeds to Black Lives Matter or just whatever. And so, like, everyone thinks globally here, which is like in the creative community, which is amazing, which is like, it's refreshing. It's wonderful. And so, like, I love being here for that reason. I have become a part of so many Kamara Thomas and Country Soul Songbook. Like, that's here in Durham, and it's doing national work, but here in Durham. Lord, I mean, like so much of like the bail funds for mothers happens here, and it's a creative community that puts that together. The Pinhook, North Star Church for the Arts. Like there's so much good community oriented stuff happening here. And I don't think that there's any other place that it could happen but here. Favorite places. Okay. So, like I'm a food person, so most of my things are going to center around food.
I think that this place draws it.
Dude, like you can't have like Rise, like biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
Thai on Main. I love Thai food. Like that's my joint. BU coffee. Just go chill and sit and have coffee and listen. I can't wait till they start doing music again. I mean, we make freaking candles here. I'm gonna say this so wrong, but like Bariqua Soul. I like an empanada with some collard greens on the side and macaroni and cheese. Yes, please. I love, like, I look forward to when Pinhook is wide open because, like, you can always catch the best show, drag shows, all of that. Like, what you want. Like, what is your freak fly it? Go there and have it validated. Carolina Theater. Like, I am a triangle lover. Like, I love the Poorhouse. Poorhouse is one of my favorite venues. And it's, and they've stayed strong through this and like pivoted and tried to keep their head above water. And I appreciate and love that. I'm sure I'm forgetting things, but like any of the M restaurants, M Coco and I forget the name of the new place, but it's really good. It took me on my anniversary. It's really, really good. Just, I think the best thing that I can say is like, there's just really awesome local things that Kids Notes is one of them. My girl Shauna Tucker is over that and is doing revamping the program and doing a lot of really great things over there. Band Together. Like just there's so many great things that just happen here because everybody thinks globally and thinks community oriented as opposed to thinking about me, myself, and I. Pinecone. There's just really great things happening here. The Arts Council here in North Carolina is like one of the best that I've ever encountered. Like they're in it and like, and always, how can we help you? What do you need? What can we do for you as an artist? So yeah, I feel supported from every turn. Oh, Walltown Children's Theater. My husband is on the board. I have taught at Walltown for years. And actually, if you go to YouTube and you look up I Choose Durham, the Durham anthem, I did a version with my kids at Walltown. And so you can hear my babies singing and they're so awesome. It's the first thing that I've ever produced on my own, but like these are all kids from age 8 to 16 that are singing on this project. And they did it all themselves. And we did it during COVID. It was amazing. And Walltown does amazing work in the community. And I'm really proud to be a part of it over there. So that was the long answer to your question.
It was a great answer. You are amazing and refreshing.
Oh,
and I was just thinking about this. The first answer that came out of your mouth with food was Rise, and Rise and Rissi are very similar. So keep rising, girl.
Tell them that if they want to endorse us, we come every Saturday. Like they know my husband. They know our order and they know my husband. It's hilarious. They're like, it's the guy with the 3 biscuits.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.